Hi, welcome to Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm your host, Ed Smith. Today we're going to take a look at a 32 team league that is entitled the Big Easy Dynasty Franchise Football League. And this league started in the summer of 2021, and I was able to choose the Atlanta Falcons late in the draft. I actually paid a little bit less to draft so late. I believe I drafted number 30 overall, so it was not quite the cost. And I really love this concept. This is my second 32 team league, but my first franchise league where I actually got to choose a franchise. And it's what really spurred the league that I detailed a couple weeks back, the family business franchise league that I have the Jaguars in. And it all came from this league and this concept, and I loved it. And I just was concerned about maybe some of the how the league was going to run and if it would continue, and I wanted to have a team in this kind of format. So fast forward a year, actually I have taken over the league as the commissioner, at least on a temporary basis, to get things a year ahead in payment, some of the things that I do consistently to keep turnover to a minimum. And so excited for that. But looking ahead at this particular team, the scoring on it it's full point PPR with bonuses of 1 full point at tight end, a quarter point at receiver, and a half a point at running back. And so the starters here are very similar to what we had in the other 32 team league. It's 1 running back, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 1 super flex because of the quarterbacks, and it allows for a non-quarterback to play. 2 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, 2 defensive backs, 1 IDP flex for a total of 13 starters. So not 22 like some teams would have, but we have 13 starters. And really looking at some of that, we do have a lot of bench spots here though with 27, so that takes us to 40 plus the 5 taxi plus the 4 IR spots is 49. And if we look at the 53-man roster plus maybe the 16 person taxi squad or practice squad, a lot of the players are taken up here because we have to subtract off the long snapper, the offensive line, the kicker, the punter. And so once we do that, you really have the full team in this league. You really have the full team, and there's nothing on the waiver wire. I mean, absolutely nothing on the waiver wire. You don't pick up a third string quarterback on the waiver wire. They're all gone. And I do believe that as we look at the defense first, this is very much like the holds category in baseball and middle relievers. It changes year over year. Best I can tell, looking back at 5 years of history, that weak side linebackers on bad teams, those starters are the teams that score the most points of tackle points. And those weak side linebackers on bad teams change year after year after year. And we don't even know which are the bad teams per se. Because you'd say, well, Jacksonville's a bad team last year. It was sort of bad, but not bad defensively. Bad defensively was actually the Bengals, who were in the Super Bowl. Because they had the tackle points, and so it's hard to handicap that a year out of, okay, who are going to be the tackle gods. And so I kind of have taken the philosophy that I'm not going to trade for assets that are so changeable that I don't know who they are. So you'll see that I trade away those kind of players when they're hot, because I'm not convinced that they're going to be hot forever, and if they are, they are. But I just try to maximize value, and then I just try to build the biggest offensive stout lineup I can, and it's what I know. So maybe that's part of it as well. So looking at the defense that we have here, actually the Falcons have a good defense. Just built in, and I traded away some of the good guys. I try to keep young guys. I'm just kind of obsessed with youth, and hope that works. But have Harris and Jarrett, Fowler, Gibson over from the Bears, and he seemed to be coming on, but I don't think he scored well this year, so it's kind of interesting. And Jones and Sanat, Shelton, Williams, Anderson. Williams is from the Broncos, just kind of a shout out there for him. And then a linebacker, Ragland and Walker, but some of those defensive linemen actually can duel as linebackers, so I'll pick those with late round draft picks and just try to pluck out rookie guys that make sense, and we'll cover that a little bit when I go over my rookie list with you guys and go over how I draft. But and you'll start to see that as we outline other teams as well. And then the defensive backs: Moreau, Harmon, Williams, Oliver, and Grant. And Williams and Grant are two young guys that I actually do have a fascination for, that really haven't played a lot yet, but that I think that could be decent players in the defensive backfield. And so I'm kind of holding on to them with the idea that they haven't reached peak value, but if they do, then we'll look at either trading them or keeping them, and so we'll go from there. The quarterback room, it's full of people. But as you'll see, it's full of people that don't play unless there's an injury. So Matt Ryan, and he's old, and so looking to move him if I can get something of value. But remember, when you trade for draft picks, you need to trade for high-end draft picks, because the first round takes us to pick 32. So the second round could be pick 64, and the third round could be pick 96. Somebody offered me a third-round pick for a starting player, and I'm like, geez, that pick 96 in a rookie draft is pretty bad. Like, that's pretty low. That's lower than most people are drafting. So not much I could do with that. And so, that's like the NFL third round, and they include offensive linemen in there, and there's a lot of them in the first 3 rounds. So, I always look at that way as far as that goes. So, I'm going to grab a drink of coffee here real quick, and then we'll dive into the offensive players. So at the quarterback position, we touched on Matt Ryan. Then we have Boyle, the backup for the Lions, White, the backup for the Jets, and Flacco over in Philadelphia, and we have Hoyer, Walker down in Carolina, Mannion, that was the backup in Minnesota, Glennon in New York, and Gabbert down in Tampa, Rosen in Atlanta, and Woodside in Tennessee, and Franks is in Atlanta as well. So, you can see the 3 Atlanta quarterbacks, and there's 2 young guys there that are up and coming, and we'll see what they become. But, just options there, and really would trade any of them away, really waiting for the right quarterback to come, and knew this team wouldn't win. Would take me to the tight end position with the bonus points. I actually put Kyle Pitts on the taxi squad last year, knowing we couldn't win, and I traded away Ridley before he disappeared, really, and traded away Mike Davis for first round draft capital as well. So, did get rid of those kind of guys, early on. And I didn't touch on the running backs or receivers here. I guess I should, because we do have Cordell Patterson. That's who I used a running back, and that became pretty decent. And have Ryan Null, have Preston Taylor, Jordan Howard, Patrick Laird, and Khalil Herbert. So the running back room actually have some young guys in addition to Patterson that maybe will, but maybe won't. I think that Jordan Howard this year is possible that he could be Mike Davis from last year. Maybe he gets signs a job with somebody, gets the start, and kind of goes away. So he'll be a player that, if he just was Mike Davis, I could trade him away preseason and get a nice value out of him, and then move on and get somebody else. Everybody's scared of Patterson's age, so it feels like he's a guy that I'm just going to keep playing with. At the receiver room, I did say I traded away Calvin Ridley, and so I have Zacchaeus, Sharp, Demarcus Robinson over from the Chiefs, KJ Hill, Miles Austin, and Colin Johnson and Darby. And so, the receiver room is kind of light, and you'll see that with the picks that we have, though, I do expect that I can pop some receivers this year in the rookie draft, which is deep, and get some players that maybe can fill that whole thing up. Players that we've traded away from the original team were Mike Davis, Gage, Calvin Ridley, AJ Terrell, and Jones, the middle linebacker. So, I got some decent players there, and then players that we received were Demarcus Robinson and Herbert. But the bigger things that we received were 4 first-round picks, 6 second-round picks, and 5 third-round picks. So as we look at not only 2022 in the draft, there's going to have multiple first-round picks in 2023, multiple second-round picks in 2023. So this year is another building year where I'm kind of letting the division that we're in, the AFC South, kind of Need Christian McCaffrey to either find his way out of the division or get another year older, and kind of work his way out. Got some luck with Tom Brady retiring, and so now that he was on the Bucks and in our league as well, and losing all the things in New Orleans and let those assets get another year older as well. With Kyle Pitts, and I'm really building the team around Kyle Pitts, feeling like if he's not the 101, if he wasn't the 101 player in this kind of a format last year, right? And he's not the 101 this year, I've got to think that he might be the 101 next year, because tight ends have the biggest premium. Tight ends are a position you have to start. You don't have to start a quarterback. So tight end, you have to start one. There's only really 5 to 8 good ones. Okay, so now all of a sudden, if you're the only one in your whole division that's good, all of a sudden winning the division here is a key, and it's important to know the rules of every league. And I guess I can go over that. So in this league, we've decided that we're going to pay division winners their entry fee back. So winning the division, while it doesn't make the team profitable, it does get us to 0. And so then the more divisions we can pile up in a 10-year period. I'm going to go 2 years without one division, kind of know that. But let's say I can run out of division 6 years and break even. All I need to do is win 1 or 2 of the rest, of those 6 years, and then this thing is really a profitable experience over the long haul of 10 years. So that's kind of what my theory is in regards to this kind of a team. The picks this year coming up in the draft, which we'll outline, and I'll set this draft up. Since I have 32 team leagues, I'm going to set this draft up very similar to the other 2 as far as where we go, but just a point of emphasis here on this particular one. We have pick 6, which was our pick 11, pick 16, and then pick 28. So as you can see, we had 3 non-playoff team picks. So we traded players to teams, and they did not make the playoffs with trading away their first round pick. And so that's kind of like a cardinal rule for me. When you trade away a first round pick, not only should you make the playoffs, I feel like you need to win it. You need to win money. It needs to be profitable, or otherwise trading away the future didn't make any sense. And so I'm slow to trade early because I don't know if the team's going to win. I don't know what injuries are going to happen. Not that you know what injuries are going to happen, or not that you can handicap Odell Beckham getting hurt in the Super Bowl, but you have a better shot of knowing that the Rams have a shot to win when we're a win into the playoffs and we know we're pretty good than we do before the season starts and we just got Matt Stafford. Now, it worked for them, and I'm watching the whole Les Snead opportunity there and how he just trades away the picks and seems to win. And case in point, the 1998 team that I outlined very first here in this league, that won back-to-back championships when I was only focused on that one team, and that's a distinction I think I figured out. I won back-to-back, and I will have my first-round pick this year. But what I have found is that I went 2 years without being in the playoffs too, and so that catches up with you not having first-round picks. So you have to win. Now, I did win twice, so I guess you win twice in a row. I can have a lot of losses, if you will, and still be making profits, but I feel like it's time to get back, and so I'm excited to have some first round picks, and actually only have 1 this year now, but because I acquired a Michael Carter, but beyond that, I really feel like it's something that's a critical piece, and not to say you can't trade them at draft day, but having them in the arsenal to trade at draft day is important. Second round picks that we have with this team are pick 38, 48, 52, 59, 60. And these are mid-range players. Should be able to pull some, this is where we might be able to get some of those defenders that nobody knows about and pull out some backup quarterbacks and some long shot receivers and maybe some running backs like Khalil Herbert types, and really try to maximize on those positions. Then the third round we have pick 70, 75, 80, 91, 92. In the fourth round, 102, 123, and in the fifth round, 134. And I like to list those numbers out because that shows me how far down the fifth round pick is. Pick 134. And I've got an early fifth round, and I pick 134. Like, what am I going to do with pick 134? That person probably doesn't make my football team. Doesn't even make the roster. doesn't even warrant a taxi spot unless something happens from the time I drafted him until opening day type of thing. So you know, picking that up doesn't make any sense. And so, just kind of thinking that through and looking at those numbers reminds me of that. And yet, I think the outlook for this team is really good. Don't expect to win in 2022. Think that this team is building for a 2023 win, and we'll have 2 first-round picks next year. And actually would like to have this one be a high pick again this year. Not sure about Kyle Pitts. Probably will take him off the taxi this year and just kind of play him just because, not that I never try to lose, right? So I don't ever try to lose. I just try to be smart, and I thought with Hayden Hurst, in town, and I guess I didn't list the tight ends now that I'm going over. I have Gentry, Hurst, and Daphne, and Pitts. So there are some other starters there that I could use, but not sure what I'm going to do. But last year with Hurst, I was looking to trade him, and I wanted to highlight him and put him in every week, and he just never really materialized like I thought he might, and so I never had the opportunity to move on from him. So that's what I'm looking to do, and that's kind of the breakdown of this team. Give me your thoughts in the comments. I always look forward to comments on these breakdowns because I know that my way isn't the only way to go, and this kind of a format is something very new to me. So definitely open to feedback on how I'm building. I do know that very few people look at 2023 back in 2021 and say that's what I'm going to try to win, and kind of map out, not only say that, but then have a roadmap to get in there. And I feel like I have that here. So look forward to the comments. Let me know if you think it just doesn't work. Like, many people always tell me that, but then they don't tell me why it's not going to work. They just tell me my team stinks. I had somebody on the board last night tell me that my team was never going to win, and I'm like, wow, I guess I feel like it's 6 pieces away. So 6 pieces away means that I've got 5 good ones, and I think with 5 first-round picks and 4 first-round picks, 9 first-round picks, it's got a chance to get 6 good ones, or 6 more pieces. Like it's got a chance. And with the 5 good ones at 22 years old, I mean, 3 years from now they're 25. Like, we're still okay, and none of them are running backs. Like, I think we're in a pretty good spot, and maybe I don't know anything, but I look forward to your comments. You're hitting the like button, hit the subscribe button. Really, after those subscribers, build the number, join the clown show, and then also put your questions there in the chat, as well as I'd like to just answer them on Saturday or on Sunday mornings, I should say, as we break down something or answer questions. So have a great day. Welcome to the Fantasy Clown Show, and again, my name is Ed Smith, your host.